Have you ever heard the story where Jesus encounters two men possessed by a legion of demons who, instead of pleading for mercy or attempting to flee from his presence, make a surprising request? They beg to be sent into a herd of pigs. This strange and enigmatic request is recorded in the Gospels, and for centuries it has puzzled theologians, scholars, and believers alike. But what is the real meaning behind this episode? Why did the demons, when confronted by the unmatched power of Jesus, specifically choose pigs? And perhaps even more intriguingly, why did Jesus grant their request? What can this story teach us about the nature of evil, the spiritual battle we are engaged in, and the absolute power of Jesus? Before we dive into these profound questions and uncover the layers of meaning in this narrative, let me ask you a crucial question. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by challenges that seem too big for you to handle? Life can be tough, and we all face struggles that leave us feeling hopeless at times. If you're looking for a way to overcome these difficulties, I have something special that can help you. I've created an exclusive ebook called A Practical Guide to Overcoming Daily Challenges with the Teachings of Jesus. In this guide, you'll learn how to apply Jesus' teachings in a powerful and practical way to tackle your problems with faith and courage. Click the first link in the comments and grab your copy now. Now that you know you can rely on Jesus' wisdom to face your daily challenges, let's return to the story of the demons and the pigs. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what we're about to explore might change the way you see the spiritual world and the power of Jesus. Our story begins with Jesus and his disciples crossing the Sea of Galilee on their way to the land of the Gerasenes, a predominantly Gentile region located beyond the borders of Israel. To the Jews, this region was associated with cultural and spiritual impurity. So, as Jesus crossed the sea, he wasn't just crossing a geographical boundary, but also a spiritual and cultural boundary. In biblical symbolism, the sea often represents chaos, the unknown, and even the forces of darkness. When Jesus calmed the storm during their crossing, an event recorded right before this story, he had already demonstrated his authority over nature and over the forces of evil. The stormy sea could be seen as a reflection of the spiritual forces opposing him, but with a single word, he brought peace to creation. This sets the tone for what comes next. Jesus is about to enter the territory of darkness and confront evil head-on. Upon landing, Jesus is immediately confronted by two men possessed by demons who lived among the tombs. These men were completely isolated from society, living among the dead, which in Jewish thought represented extreme spiritual impurity. The tombs symbolized both physical and spiritual death, and living there meant these men were cut off from life, purity, and the presence of God. These men were known for their uncontrollable violence. They were possessed by a legion of demons, and the Gospel of Mark tells us that no one could bind them, not even with chains. They were so violent that even when bound, they would break the chains with supernatural strength. The presence of demons had completely dehumanized them, turning them into instruments of fear and destruction. But something unexpected happens when Jesus arrives. The demons inside these men immediately recognize who he is. Instead of attacking him or trying to flee, they run toward Jesus and fall at his feet. This is the first sign that we are witnessing a spiritual battle that, in reality, has already been won before it even begins. The demons know they have no power before Jesus. They are standing before the Son of God, and they know their defeat is inevitable. It is fascinating to observe what the demons say when they encounter Jesus. They cry out, "What do you want with us, Son of the Most High God? Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?" Mark 5:7. This confession is profound and full of spiritual significance. First, by referring to Jesus as the Son of the Most High God, the demons are acknowledging his divinity. They know exactly who he is, and they cannot deny his authority. Even the spiritual enemies of God recognize that Jesus has power over them. This teaches us an important lesson. No matter how powerful the forces of evil may seem, they are subject to the authority of Christ. Second, the demons ask if Jesus has come to torture them before the appointed time. This gives us a glimpse into the final destiny of all evil forces. The demons know that their time is running out. They are aware that there is a day of judgment coming, when Satan and all his angels will be defeated and thrown into the lake of fire. Revelation 20 verse 10. They know they cannot escape this fate, but they are trying to delay the inevitable. These 2 points teach us something fundamental about the spiritual realm. Jesus has total authority over all things, both visible and invisible. Even the forces of evil are subject to his power. And this authority of Jesus is not temporary, it is eternal and absolute. When the demons encounter Jesus, they know they cannot resist him, so they attempt to negotiate. However, instead of asking for mercy or trying to flee, the demons make a peculiar request. They beg to be sent into a herd of pigs that was grazing nearby. But why would they make such a strange request? What does this reveal about the nature of evil and the spiritual battle we are engaged in? The demon's request to be sent into the pigs is one of the most intriguing aspects of this story. To understand why they made this request, we need to examine the significance of pigs in Jewish culture and spirituality. In Jewish tradition, pigs were considered unclean animals. According to the law of Moses, Jews were forbidden to eat pork or even touch these animals because they were seen as ritually impure. Leviticus 11:7. Pigs symbolized impurity and separation from God. However, Jesus was in Gentile territory, where the raising of pigs was common and Jewish law was not observed. But here's the key point. The demons, being impure spirits, sought refuge in something that was also considered impure. They knew that Jesus would expel them from the men they possessed, and by asking to enter the pigs, they were trying to find a new host that matched their corrupt nature. Impurity attracts impurity, and the pigs were the perfect vessel for these evil spirits. Moreover, this request gives us a deeper insight into the nature of evil. To the demons, there was no difference between possessing men or pigs. They saw no value in human dignity. To them, human beings were just vessels to be used and destroyed, just like the pigs. This reveals the dehumanizing character of evil. Evil does not value life. It degrades and destroys everything it touches. To the demons, both men and pigs were merely vehicles for spreading their destruction. Another reason the demons asked to be sent into the pigs was their fear of being sent into the abyss. In Luke 8:31, the demons begged Jesus not to send them into the abyss. The abyss, in biblical terms, is a place of torment and confinement for evil spirits, a foreshadowing of their final judgment. The demons knew that the abyss represented their complete destruction, and they wanted to avoid this fate at all costs. By asking to be sent into the pigs, they hoped to prolong their existence on earth, even if it was in a degraded state. Now that we understand why the demons asked to enter the pigs, another crucial question arises. Why did Jesus grant their request? Jesus had the power to destroy them completely or to send them directly into the abyss, as they feared. So why did he allow them to possess the pigs? To answer this question, we need to look at Jesus' purpose in this situation. Jesus' goal was to completely liberate the men who were possessed by the demons. These men had been enslaved by a legion of evil spirits, and Jesus wanted to ensure their complete and final freedom. By allowing the demons to enter the pigs, Jesus was showing that he was willing to sacrifice a herd of pigs to save these human souls. He was more interested in restoring the dignity and lives of these men than in preserving a herd of animals. Here we see a fundamental truth about Jesus' ministry. To him, human life is incomparably more valuable than any material possession. The spiritual, emotional, and physical restoration of these men was far more important than the fate of the pigs. Jesus came to set the captives free and to restore the lost, and he was willing to do whatever it took to ensure their liberation. Furthermore, by allowing the demons to enter the pigs, Jesus was revealing a powerful truth about the self-destructive nature of evil. As soon as the demons entered the pigs, the animals went mad and ran toward a cliff, where they plunged into the sea and drowned. Mark 5:13. This act of immediate destruction is a clear symbol of how evil operates. Evil, by its very nature, leads to destruction. Even when the demons thought they had escaped immediate destruction, their final outcome was death. This scene is a metaphor for the inevitable fate of evil. Evil may try to escape, but its ultimate nature is always ruin. Jesus used this event to visibly demonstrate what evil does. It destroys, consumes, and leads to death. While the demons were inside the men, their destruction was invisible, but when they entered the pigs, their true nature was exposed for all to see. This event also serves as a warning to all who were present. Evil may try to hide or delay its defeat, but its destruction is inevitable. Jesus demonstrated that he has absolute power over the forces of evil, and that the final destiny of these forces is destruction. After the pigs plunged into the sea and died, the herdsmen who were tending them ran to the town and spread the news of what had happened. A crowd of townspeople gathered and came to meet Jesus. When they arrived, they saw an astonishing sight. The two men who had been violent and possessed were now sitting, clothed, and in their right minds. Mark 5:15. The transformation was complete and miraculous. Jesus hadn't just cast out the demons, he had fully restored the dignity and humanity of these men. However, the reaction of the townspeople was both surprising and in some ways tragic. Instead of celebrating the miracle of liberation and spiritual restoration, they were afraid and begged Jesus to leave their region. Mark 5:17. This reveals an uncomfortable truth. They were more concerned about the material loss they had suffered than the spiritual transformation that had taken place before their eyes. The herd of pigs represented a significant source of economic livelihood for the community, and the loss of the pigs was seen as a major financial blow. The townspeople were more worried about their material possessions than about the freedom of the two men who had been possessed. They preferred that Jesus leave rather than risk losing more. This reaction teaches us an important lesson. People often prefer to hold on to their material possessions and their earthly comfort rather than embrace the spiritual transformation that Jesus offers. The people of the Gerasenes were not willing to let go of their goods to embrace the presence of Jesus. They chose the material over the spiritual. This forces us to reflect on our own lives. How many times do we reject God's transforming presence because we are afraid of losing something material? How many times do we choose to hold on to our pigs, our possessions, our pleasures, our vices, instead of allowing Jesus to completely set us free? Are we willing to let go of what binds us to the world in order to receive true spiritual freedom? This story challenges us to reconsider our priorities. Just like the people of the Gerasenes, we often prefer comfort and material security over accepting the radical change that Jesus can bring into our lives. But Jesus doesn't force us to accept his presence. He gives us the freedom to choose, just as he gave that community. They chose to ask him to leave, and he respected their decision. Although the demons managed to avoid their immediate destruction by entering the pigs, their victory was only temporary. The destruction of the pigs points to the ultimate fate of all evil forces. Evil may cause destruction for a time, but its final destiny is already decreed. The Bible makes it clear that in the end times, Satan and his angels will be thrown into the lake of fire, where they will be destroyed forever. Revelation 20, verse 10. The demons, by asking to enter the pigs, were trying to delay the inevitable. They knew they couldn't resist the power of Jesus, but at least they wanted to prolong their presence in the physical world for a little longer. However, even this temporary victory resulted in destruction. Evil, by its very nature, cannot escape its final condemnation. It may cause destruction for a while, but its final destiny is defeat and ruin. This story reminds us that even when evil seems to triumph, its defeat is guaranteed. Jesus has already won the battle against Satan, and Christ's ultimate victory is assured. No force of evil can stand against the power of Jesus. The destiny of the forces of darkness is sealed, and their destruction is certain. This gives us hope in our own spiritual battles. No matter how powerful the darkness may seem, it cannot stand against the power of Christ. Jesus' victory is final, and all the forces of evil will be destroyed in God's appointed time. Another important aspect of this story is that it takes place in Gentile territory. This is significant because it shows that Jesus' power and salvation were not limited to the Jewish people. By liberating these Gentile men, Jesus was demonstrating that the kingdom of God extended beyond the borders of Israel and included all nations. This event foreshadows the global mission that would be fully revealed after his resurrection, when Jesus would command his disciples to go to all nations and preach the gospel. Matthew 28:19 through 20. After being freed, one of the formerly possessed men asked to follow Jesus as a disciple, but Jesus instructed him to return to his town and tell everyone what God had done for him. Mark 5:19. This man, now restored, became one of the first Gentile missionaries, proclaiming the transforming power of Jesus in his own land. This teaches us a powerful truth. We are all called to witness what God has done in our lives. No matter where we are or what our story is, we all have the responsibility to share the good news of salvation. God's power knows no boundaries, and the message of Jesus is one of hope and transformation for all people everywhere. This story is more than just a tale of exorcism. It is a profound lesson about Jesus' power, the value of human life, and the destructive nature of evil. Jesus came into the world to liberate the captives, restore the lost, and destroy the works of the devil. He did this with supreme authority, demonstrating that no force in the universe can resist his power. But this story also challenges us to reflect on our own lives. Are we ready to let go of our pigs, our possessions, our pleasures, our material attachments, in order to allow Jesus to fully set us free? Or do we prefer to hold on to what we have, even if it keeps us spiritually bound? Jesus offers us freedom, but it's up to us to choose whether we will receive it. If you feel that something in your life is preventing you from experiencing the full freedom that Jesus offers, today is the day to surrender everything to him and allow him to transform your life. If you felt touched by this content and would like to continue receiving more reflections like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any videos. And if you haven't yet downloaded the exclusive ebook, A Practical Guide to Overcoming Daily Challenges with the Teachings of Jesus, click now on the first link in the comments and begin your journey of spiritual transformation today. May God richly bless you, and see you in the next video.